You might know what facial recognition systems are. Facial recognition technology has raised so many philosophical questions over the years about personal privacy. It can be instrumental depending on who is using it and how. I will get briefly into this topic by discussing how they operate and what they're capable of doing in hopes of spreading awareness on this technology. First, let's begin with the different types of facial recognition systems and what they're used for. Facial identification is the most popular one, and you might be familiar with it if you are an iPhone user. What it does is that it starts by reading the geometry of your face. After, the program then will find key factors of distinguishable characteristics on the faces. The program will store them as data consisting of identifiable facial landmarks. It also uses these data to distinguish your face from others. In the case of Apple ID, it will analyze the faces first, and if it finds them to be matching to the data it has, the algorithm will produce a positive result and unlock the phone. Facial recognition can also detect faces within a photo. Not only that they can detect faces, but they can also be used to find the age and even the gender of the person in the image, and that can be pretty problematic. One misconception is that recognition technologies only work with human faces. The truth is that they are used to detect and analyze 3D and 2D objects, including several species, in order to find which species they belong to. Now let's explain how they collect the data they need. The process begins by mapping and scanning an image or a video using softwares that analyzes the facial features to make accurate measurements of the face. For example, the width and length of your face, the distance between your eyes, the distance from the forehead to your chin, and the shape of your cheekbones can all be important indicators in the process. After the analysis is completed, the software will have something similar to a blueprint that holds the key to your identity. The data is used on a software that compares the face to the faces of millions or even billions of people. It then compares these images and ranks them based on resemblance. If the identity was found, it will show results related to who you are, based on the social media presence, if the identity was accurately identified. The search engine results may contain URLs or profiles with personal information on the person in the image. The troubling part is that the photos can be an article, a mugshot, or other things you once downloaded on the internet that you might not be proud of sharing. Facial recognition and law enforcement. Since facial recognition specializes in tracking and identifying people, many governments around the globe have adopted this technology in their workforce. An example of this is law enforcement and how they globally utilize this technology to catch fugitives. Facial recognition has proven to be very significant. However, every software has its vulnerability. It's been reported that 200 facial recognition softwares in the United States have many biases in its algorithms, including racial and gender biases. On January 26, 2019, Najir Parks was arrested for unlawful possession of guns, resisting arrest, and aggravated assault. The police arrested Parks because he was a suspect in the crime. After they found a fake ID near the crime scene, they then used a facial recognition algorithm to scan the license. The analysis found a match to the face on the ID. The match was a guy named Najir Parks. His innocence took 1 year to be proved, after finding out that Parks was 30 miles away from the crime scene at the time it happened. They also found out that the algorithm misscanned his identity for someone else. And that is not the first time where a person of color gets arrested for being identified as someone they are not. One of the reasons facial recognition softwares misidentify people of color is due to them being improperly trained to manually identify the faces of people of white descent. Facial recognition technologies falsely identify Black and Asian faces 10 to 100 times more often than they did with white faces. Yet, that didn't stop many companies from releasing and distributing these technologies, knowing these biases are in them. Facial recognition and social life. Facial recognition has become popular in many societies, including China. In China, facial recognition is not just used by law enforcement, but privately owned companies are daily allowed to use it for purposes such as commercial displays. Compared to other societies, China is the top purveyor of facial recognition on the list. They proudly believe that this extensive technology can help improve their life quality. and many citizens believe that it's a serious invasion of their privacy and freedom, while others stated their appreciation of the execution of this technology in their environment because it forces citizens to make ethical choices because they are being surveilled.
I think being ranked is a good thing. A society has to have rules.
It forces us to be well behaved.
They use systems that rank good and bad citizens through surveillance. The life of the citizens in China is monitored by credits called social points. They ranked out of a possible 950 points. The higher your score is, the more perks you get, such as food discounts and free public transportation. Meanwhile, jaywalkers and people who go against the law are redeemed to be untrustworthy by the government. They daily get exposed in public by revealing their identities on screens that includes their names, phone numbers, and even their addresses. Today, facial recognition systems have become accessible to everyone. Websites like Yandex, a Russian search engine, find an identity solely on a single image. Facial recognition's popularity is growing exponentially, and over time it can be more powerful and efficient. Many people can't trust this technology. However, software can have negative results as well as positive ones. I hope this video has helped introduce possible risks in this technology, and that softwares can have negative results as well as positive ones depending on how they are used.